One Cut of the Dead, which came out in 2017, is one of the best new zombie movies that I have ever seen. And the best thing about it is that it's not even really a zombie movie. Before I go any further, I have to issue a spoiler warning, because there is no way I can extensively talk about this movie without giving away the twists it contains, and the twists are really what make this movie great. Because of how new the movie is, and how little is currently known about it with the mainstream audience, I feel it is best to let you all know that you simply must watch it first before you go any further. It is currently streaming on the Shudder channel, and you can get a free trial subscription for the channel when you first sign up at any time. The movie is in subtitles, so you will have to actively watch it and not just browse on your phone at the same time, like I can also be guilty of doing. If you have a problem with this, then please get over it. This movie is so worth the watch, and you'll be glad that you did watch it. Now that we've got the disclaimer out of the way, let's delve deeper into what this movie is all about, and why I had to rewatch it. Spoilers ahead. The movie starts with the girl being attacked by a zombie, but we then quickly see that this is merely a take on the set of a horror film. The director emotionally goes off on the cast in a very Stanley Kubrick type of way, and we then follow the cast interactions between this and their next take. As the scene starts going on, I soon realize what I'm watching. This movie is all being done in one very long take. I quickly connect the title of the film with what I'm seeing, and I conclude that this entire movie is going to be done in one very long take. The whole movie. An impressive feat to pull off for any movie, and the first time I would have seen such a thing. I often see long takes used by directors before, and it's always an impressive thing to watch and realize that that is what's happening as you watch it. Joss Whedon has done it multiple times in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Quentin Tarantino has done it for artistic effect as well. But these were done just for single scenes. And I have never before seen it done for an entire movie. This instantly had One Cut of the Dead grab my attention, as I needed to see just how they were going to pull this off. As I was watching this one long take, I started to notice little things that seemed out of place, or just very obvious screenwriting tropes that would belong in a film by lazy filmmakers, even though doing a film in one take is the last thing a lazy filmmaker would ever do. The scene where the actor talks about not having any cell coverage is a well-known modern trope in horror films, and I thought it was very blatant to point it out. The one girl finding a very conveniently placed axe and oddly pointing it out also stuck out like a sore thumb to me. At times, the director would pop out of nowhere to shout for the camera to keep rolling as his cast was being attacked by real zombies. During one moment, the camera would linger on the young actress for an awkward amount of time. Perhaps the strangest thing was when a character who was killed with the axe would just randomly pop up in frame and scream with the axe still sticking out of her head, before falling back down again. Then finally, there's this strange start and stop sequence as the final zombie is going for the final girl before she finally kills him. I was impressed by the very long take I was seeing, but I couldn't help but notice all these strange inconsistencies that I was also seeing. These odd moments just weren't gelling with what this complete movie should be to me as I was watching it. And then the credits start to roll after about a half hour into the movie. Out of everything, this made me shout out, "What?" the most. This movie can't be over now. What the hell is going on here? And then the twist happened. all the inconsistencies I had been seeing had a purpose, and they were all about to make beautiful, hilarious, and perfect sense. Once the credits were done rolling and the long take was over, the start of Act 2 takes us back to 1 month ago. This is where we see the assembling of the cast and crew behind the movie within the movie. As it turns out, the very long take we just watched was the live broadcast of a special network presentation for a TV network. They wanted to use a gimmick of having the whole half-hour broadcast being done in one very long take. Hence the name One Cut of the Dead.
いや、マジやで。マジ。
え？やっていただけますか?
In the next half hour, we get to see the interactions between the cast and crew behind the scenes, their personalities, and how they feel about one another. We find out that the young male lead actor was a diva, the director's daughter has a history of working behind the scenes, one of the zombie actors has a drinking problem, and we see a young PA that always wanted to work the camera.
こう、グワングワンってズームインアウトするのどうですかね。
ダセえだろそ。
The last big reveal is that 2 cast members for the broadcast had to be replaced the day of broadcast by the director himself and his spouse with little notice. This whole act sets us up for the biggest payoff in the movie. In the final act of the movie, we get to rewatch the first act of the movie again, but this time, it's the view behind the scenes that we get to watch and follow as it's happening. Everything that was set up until now gets its payoff, and it's an absolute joy to watch it all unfold. The director from the start of the movie is revealed as the actual director filling in, and he's using this as an opportunity to completely go off on the actors for being divas during the whole rehearsal process. That's why he seems so extreme at the start of the movie. We see the actor with the drinking problem getting totally wasted before the camera starts rolling, and we see it cause all sorts of chaos behind the scenes as the actors try and adjust to the unexpected complications this creates as they keep going, just like in a live stage play. This is the reason why the one actor mentions their lack of cell coverage, because he's just improvising in the moment by pointing out a very obvious trope in horror, since that is the first thing that comes to his mind. The moments where we see the director pop back in and then shout for the cameras to keep rolling is because those are actual mistakes, and the director is shouting for the real crew behind the scenes to have the camera keep rolling, and not to the cameraman within the film. The actress finding the axe and pointing it out was because they needed to get an axe to her to fix a mistake. And just like the actor earlier with the cell phone, she couldn't think of any other way to cover for it than just by pointing out how convenient it was. We even start to get some payoff from the second act as the young PA gets a chance to pick up and take control of operating the camera during a mistake in all the chaos. And we get to see her do the things she wanted to do and even be praised for it. We get to see the director's daughter take over assistant directing duties behind the scenes during this time, and we get to see how the crew tries to control the director's wife, while we discover the reason she had to stop acting was because she got too into her roles and went way too far with method acting.
なんで女優辞めちゃったの?
役に入り込むと我を忘れちゃうみたいで、台本無視とかしょっちゅうで、昔プロレス映画の主演の腕ガッと折っちゃったらしくて、で引退つうか追放されちゃったらしくて、役者っすよね。
大丈夫?
She even uses her self-defense techniques that we see her learning and showing off earlier while improvising to fend off the crew as she starts to actually try and attack the other actors. This is the reason why the camera lingers on the one actress for so long, and she later just randomly pops up into frame with an axe in her head. She was regaining consciousness in that moment after the crew had to knock her out while the camera was lingering on the actress for that awkward amount of time. Our final payoff that we get is when we see the camera crane getting knocked off the roof in all the chaos, and the crew have to solve how to get the final shot that they need. They improvise a plan to use a human pyramid, and then have to buy some time in order to set it up. This is the reason for the last zombie just randomly starting and stopping to go after the final girl from the first part of the movie. They managed to pull off the final shot, and we end the movie with a joyous crew having been able to pull this off, while a director is proud of his daughter for helping complete the final shot while being inspired from a moment from their past together. I was amazed. I immediately had to restart the movie after it was over so that I could see the whole beginning long shot again, after knowing all the extra information about it that I had just discovered. I finally got to understand why all those odd moments in the long take stood out to me, and also why they were supposed to. It made my second viewing of it just as satisfying as the first. This is also why this zombie movie isn't even really a zombie movie. It's actually one of the cleverest comedies that I have seen in a good long while. The entire premise of One Cut of the Dead reminds me of another great comedy about the behind-the-scenes making of a show with the cast and crew called Noises Off. In Noises Off, we get to see the performance of a show in 3 acts. The first act shows us the contentious final dress rehearsal of the show from the seats of the audience with the director. The second act shows us a live performance of the show from the backstage area, as escalating cast and crew drama starts to interfere with the performance of the show.
My shoulders, I forget what day it was.
I didn't get this. I'm not here. I'm in Spain. But I didn't get it. I didn't open it. I never should have touched the envelope.
Darling.
The final act of the show presents us one last performance from the seats of the audience again, and the show is completely falling apart, with the cast and crew going crazy behind the scenes. This is one of the funniest comedies that I've seen, and any other theater person such as myself would love it just as much as I do. If you love Noises Off, then you would also love One Cut of the Dead, and vice versa. I wonder if one day any full-length movie will actually try to be all done in one true single long take, without any clever camera edits. It would require a very solid script and a lot of pre-production work to successfully pull off. The long take, lasting 37 minutes in One Cut of the Dead at the start of the movie, took 2 days and 6 takes for the cast and crew to get just right. It's a truly impressive feat on a small budget film of only $25,000, and the cast and crew should be very proud of what they've accomplished. What they were able to pull off definitely makes One Cut of the Dead one of my favorite films of the past decade, and well worth a watch and rewatch for anyone.
やっていただけますか。